So last year I made a video about this, the Dacia Sandero, and I implored people to stop calling it a good car for the price and accept it as a good car in its own right. Well, in this video I'm going to give you my top 10 reasons why I feel that this car is so good and why it beats its mainstream opposition. But before we do any of that, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button, click subscribe. We are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, so it'd really mean a lot to us if you can do that for us. And also hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever we make a new upload. Right, done that? Let's get started, shall we? Sometimes when manufacturers bring new models to market, they will build that new car off the platform of a previous generation to a different car. So even expensive cars with super powerful V8 engines can trace their origins back to a 1997 E-Class Mercedes-Benz. But the Dacia Sandero is actually built on the latest generation of the Renault Clio. So that means you get modern proportions, you get super efficient engines, and most importantly, you also get highly efficient and super precise manufacturing practices. Now, I could take a cheap shot here and say that other cars similarly priced to the Sandero are much smaller and therefore have far less space. And that's not fair on the class below. Nor is it necessary, because the Sandero even beats cars in its own class. In fact, What Car even said that this is the only car that they were able to fit 6 carry-on suitcases into the boot. Driving this car is really easy, and you'll be surprised on how many cars get this wrong. I've got really good adjustment in the steering wheel for height and reach, good placement on the pedals, I've got a really comfy seat with an armrest, and then you've also got this really soft suspension which doesn't make you feel seasick because it's so wallowy through the corners. I love the way Dacia have cut costs on this car. It's so easy for brands to do it in such a way that makes the car feel worse for it. Take these wheels, for example. Now, yes, if you really wanted alloy wheels, you can go for a stepway journey. But on this comfort model on the regular Sandero, it's got these flex wheels, which look like alloys, but are just wheel trims. So that means if you're going to scuff one or damage it, you just got to replace a wheel trim rather than having to pay out for an expensive alloy wheel refurb. I also love on the dashboard how they use cloth upholstery to brighten up the cabin rather than just a sea of black plastic, which leads me on to my next point. Now, when you take coffee in your car, you don't take your coffee in a normal china mug, you take it in a travel mug. The reason for this is it's designed to be able to carry the liquid within the car where it will move and slosh around and then won't pour its contents all over your trousers. And the design of the dashboard for the Sandero is very much like that. It's not going to appeal to Apple enthusiasts with its minimalist design language.
In an incredible new design.
But as you can see, it's got big chunky dials and buttons so that when you're on the move, the car is easy to navigate round. I've got audio controls here on this stalk, for example. And what that means is the touchscreen system here has big icons that I can press more easily when I'm on the move. The travel mug approach to car design. Now cast your mind back about 10 years ago and you would have heard James May talk about
Great news! Oh, good news! Great news! Great news! Good news!
About the car you've never heard of. This one, the Dacia Sandero. And while it was all a bit tongue-in-cheek, it obviously worked for us because now this is the best-selling car in Europe and Dacia as a brand is completely dominating the automotive landscape. There isn't just one style when it comes to the Sandero. Need something a little taller? You have stepway, which also adds additional body cladding and trick roof bars. I've done a tutorial on those which you can watch up here. Now if you thought the normal Sandero was spacious, there's now a longer, more chocolatey version called the Jogger, which as well as giving you more space, adds 2 more seats that can be configured in many ways. You'll want to click up here to see my video on that one. Now if you are thinking what cars are most likely to retain most of their value after a 3-year period, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's going to be something like a Mini, or the Ford Fiesta, or the VW Polo. Well, it's none of those. It is this, the Sandero. In fact, CAP reckon that this car will retain 53% of its original value after 3 years and 30,000 miles. If you go for a stepway, that jumps up to 57%. To put that into some kind of context, that's the sort of level you'd expect of Porsche or Bentley for residual value. Go for a Sandero and you have 2 trim options. You have Essential and Expression. If you go for a stepway, you also have Journey, but given that each trim level has a very high level of standard equipment, the options list is rather scarce, to put it mildly. The choices you have are metallic paint and a full-size spare wheel. That's it. Nothing else. Anything else would have been deemed frivolous, so Dacia haven't bothered. Now, range is a really big talking point these days. Typically with a petrol engine you'll get somewhere between 450 miles to a tank. Go for a diesel, you're looking 500-600 at a push. Go with one of these with the bi-fuel engine and you are looking at 1,039 miles on a WLTP cycle. To put that into perspective, that's like going from our Weybridge showroom to Warsaw in Poland. Now, you wouldn't do that kind of drive, that's about 17 hours. But the car could, no problem. So there you go. Those are my top 10 reasons why we love the Dacia Sandero so much. We'd love to hear what you think, so why don't you drop a comment down below telling us what you love about the Sandero and its family, or maybe even the rest of the Dacia range. We'd love to hear them. While you're also down there, make sure you hit like, click subscribe and click that bell icon so you're always notified of new uploads. And also check out our website, smcdacia.co.uk. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at smcdacia. We're also now on Twitter, TikTok and LinkedIn at SMC Motor Group. And of course, if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out my video up here where I talk about the Sandero Stepway, or maybe my video over here where I go through the top 10 reasons why I love the Dacia Duster. Till then, my name's Max, this is SMC Motor Group, and I'll see you on the next one.